brothers, sisters, and siblings, and welcome back to the Vibe Too Many podcast. Yes, we're back, baby. We do apologize for the brief hiatus. We were, working some new things out, bringing some new vibes onto the show, maybe having one or two mental breakdowns, as one does. Speaking of new vibes, I would like to introduce you to the new co-host of Vibe Too Many podcast, Ashton Byrne. Ashton, what are the vibes?
Hello.
What are the vibes?
They're pretty solid right now. Feeling pretty good vibes.
Good vibes today. Now is officially, obviously, on the last episode we were able to post, but Ashton is, now the full-time podcast co-host, part of Vibe Too Many. We have a new co-host. The vibes have changed. A lot of you probably wondering where Robin is. Don't worry, Robin's not dead. They are in the cube.
I trapped him in my cube.
Robin has been cubed. We are forcing them to continue to work as our producer. So Robin is still a member of the team. We get meetings with them.
Every 2 weeks, I drop sugar water in there as sustenance.
So yeah, while Robin is cubed up, they are still on as producer. It's just they had 7,000 things they have to work on.
The cube keeps them productive.
Yeah. They're literally basically the CEO of this company, although they might slap me for calling him a CEO. We're putting out a movie, which we're shooting in a couple weeks. All right, so we are back on our vibes, our vibey bullshit. And to welcome back the podcast, we thought what better way to honor, a fellow New Jersey filmmaker than to do an entire episode dedicated to the great Michael B. Jordan for the Creed Trilogy.
Yes. Absolutely.
A native of Newark, New Jersey. Yes, I say Newark like that. Let's get in our time machine that we have here at A Vibe Too Many. You'd think we would patent that, but instead we got into the film industry. At a fucking great time to do it. The year's 2015. There are some big, it's the year of legacy sequels. A lot of legacy sequels coming out at this time. Fun fact about the year of our Lord 2015, my sophomore year of high school, is the year I met Robin.
Whoa!
Yeah, so here's an extra layer of thematic for us bringing it back is my business and creative partner. First year this came out is the first year we met. Of course, Creed, directed by now Oscar winner writer-director Ryan Coogler. Little history on Rocky and Creed, the movies. Fun fact, Ashton has not seen Rocky.
I have not.
I have. So there's a fun dichotomy there. Of course, Rocky was an iconic movie, I believe, from 77 or 76, written by Sylvester Stallone himself. Obviously he stars as the cultural giant himself, Rocky Balboa. And he stayed active with the series, every single one of them, as either a writer, a director, or both, up until Rocky Balboa, which before Creed was the last Rocky movie they made. I want to say in 2006. This series was like his baby. This was his, this and the Rambo series were his. This is the shit that got him from, being, it sounds insulting to say, but being like a nobody into being Sylvester fucking Stallone. As much as I will say.
Made people, it was so good and people kind of had to take him seriously.
Yeah, and that's his first two movies coming out of the gates swinging with First Blood and Rocky was insane. That's really what got him this.
Back to back.
But yeah, Ryan Coogler himself pitched this as his first movie. This was his this was the guts it takes to be my first movie is going to be a Rocky movie. He had
a legacy sequel.
Yeah.
To a major franchise.
And it would have been really before a lot of legacy sequels because he pitched it years before it came out.
Yes.
However, for whatever reason, Stallone and the studio, it wasn't I can't imagine they gave him a hard you'll never do this, but it just didn't wound up not working out. And Coogler went on to direct his debut as Fruitvale Station instead, which say what you will about Sinners being like, getting him this Oscar credibility and getting him this credibility within the film industry, Fruitvale Station to me is still his best movie by far.
I mean, everything he makes
Yeah,
is
he's
very like
kind of batting 1,000
deep,
for me.
deeply human
Yes.
movies. Like so much like emotional, like layering going on.
Coogler makes Fruitvale Station, and it starts to like really launch him into being someone to pay attention to. Obviously, it was his directorial debut, so it wasn't like he came out and can be like, I can do whatever the fuck I want now. Like, if he wouldn't have been able to do Sinners right after Fruitvale Station and get the deal he did for that. But he convinced the studio enough to give him Creed. And I think that's partially on a solid script and partially from his previous work and bringing back the star of Fruitvale Station to come in this. However, someone that still wouldn't sign on to it at that time was Sylvester Stallone. And to me,
because I'm assuming he had like, if he was so involved in the original trilogy, he had a very specific vision.
I think for him it was like he wasn't writing this, he wasn't directing this. It's, focusing on a new character. So I think Stallone was kind of just like, it's not really for me. This isn't what I want to do. However, unfortunately at that time, his tragedy struck. His son had passed away due to, I believe it was, he had a heart attack. And, that's horrible for anyone to go through. And Ryan Coogler was able to convince him to take on Creed just to kind of help work through his grief. And from that point on, Stallone signed on and helped Coogler rework the character to more fit what, he thought Rocky would be like at this time. And I think they do a fucking brilliant job of this. Rocky and Stallone's performance in general in this is unbelievable. I think he's actually the best performance in this, which is not something I tend to say about Stallone.
And it's crazy too, because I feel like everybody in this movie is giving like a really crazy good performance.
Yeah.
Too. Like you're next to Michael B. Jordan.
But I think that's actually a great segue into like the next thing I want to talk about in this initial Creed movie, and that's the man we're here to talk about, the star of the show, Michael B. Jordan playing Adonis Creed. He
really good performance.
Yeah, this was the movie that had like launched him into being, I would say, like an A- lister at the time. I don't think he got to like.
He definitely got his name out there.
Yeah, I don't think he was like A-list until he did Black Panther a couple years later, and that's when like Michael B. Jordan, sexiest man alive, got all that shit. Justified. Yeah. Watch him in this movie. Actually, on Michael B. Jordan's Sexiest Man Alive, I would like to read you, the folks at home, a text from Ash I got. Oh, yes. I love when big sexy men throw their bodies against each other.
Yes.
That's a text I got from Ashton while we were prepping for this.
Because that's what they do.
They do, 100%. I don't think you're wrong in that.
One thing I like about this movie is that it, Adonis very clearly, like, he lives and breathes, like, this sport. He lives and breathes this craft. But it's not, like, overly macho. He also, like...
No, he cries.
Himself. He cries.
Yeah. He's vulnerable.
He communicates. He's emotionally vulnerable.
When he's not being vulnerable, and this kind of goes for the whole trilogy, when he's not being vulnerable, that's not seen as him being like, cool, mysterious guy. That's seen as him, like, making a mistake and kind of driving people away from him.
Because every victory he has in these movies, it's because he also has his support system backing him up in his corner.
Yeah.
And it's like that support system outside of this craft that he loves, that he allows into this space, allows him to only improve.
Yeah.
And he's not like a lone wolf type of thing.
Yeah, Michael B. sells it. I mean, he's kind of the king of being like, they're the kings of being like, masculine, tough guys who show vulnerability in it,
Yes. Like, masculinity that, kind of steers away from a lot of like what people's expectations of masculinity emotionally is supposed to
Yes.
be.
If anything, he kind of shows throughout this trilogy. It's almost like I when I'm saying this, I do mean in a more traditional sense, because obviously, you know, gender lines blur and gender roles are meaningless and fake. But he does show traditional masculinity through the sharing of his emotions. You know? Like, it's almost a moment of being like this kind of reserved emotional repression isn't the masculine part of it. He can't be his full self. He can't be the best boxer he can be until he's able to express himself like that.
Yes. And there's this sense that he's like constantly improving himself to get stronger, which I know goes into another point we can explore a little bit further later. Michael B. Jordan is not shy about his love of anime.
Yeah,
In fact, I know
very few anime fans are shy to say they're
yes, but I think it's very important to these movies that he very clearly, and there are a lot of visual elements in these movies too, especially Creed 3, which is his directorial debut, that are inspired by anime. I feel that picture of like masculinity where, you know, you're constantly improving your strength, but also strength also, it's not just physical, it's emotional and mental as well. It's not just being angry and violent, it's about, I believe there's a line in 3 where it's about timing, focus, and control. And that it reminded me a lot of how Goku is typically portrayed, and a lot of people around Goku, how they talk about being strong, about being the strongest fighter, is in Dragon Ball, where it's not just like punch. There's a Dragon Ball notorious, like that's like a big thing where it's like a lot of big muscly dudes.
It's power scaling the show, if I'm not mistaken.
It's power scaling the show. These movies also do the whole like, I have the power of friendship thing. But there's a reason for it.
When you were talking about how about like Creed and having the support system, I was gonna say like this is gonna sound reductive for these movies because these are very good movies, but everyone does kind of end with him being like, I have the power of friendship and that's what I need. But also that is what you need in this situation. It's never wrong, you know?
People make fun of it, but like the power of friendship is right next to there with what Rocky Balboa says, the power of time. It's undefeated. They're both undefeated.
Yeah, like Adonis couldn't do this. You know, we'll talk about it more when it comes to Creed 2, but he couldn't do this without the people around him. You know.
Without Rocky and without Bianca.
Bianca, when you get later on, Little Duke. Yes. Couldn't do it without Marianne Creed, his adopted mother.
Absolutely not, yeah. She gives him she kind of, when he quits his job, she kind of pushes him out of the house.
Yeah.
And you know, like, it's one of those situations where, like, you understand that, like, this is his life, this is what he wants to do. He can't picture a life without boxing. But she's also doesn't want him to suffer the same fate as Apollo.
Yeah.
But also she kind of wants him to, if he's gonna do this, he has to go all in.
Yeah.
Like, he already quit his job, like, you just gotta move to Philly and just go for it.
Yeah, and actually, that's another great segue here, because I one of the main thing I want to talk about with this movie is Adonis and his relationship with his deceased father. And the way I wrote it is, Adonis, does he want his father's legacy or not? And I know this might sound like I'm criticizing here, but no, I think it's a brilliant piece of writing, because he's clearly conflicted. He wants to be a boxer because he wants to, you know, avenge his father. He wants to do what his father did. But he also refuses to be Adonis Creed when he starts boxing. He keeps the Creed part of his entire legacy quiet until somebody else leaks it. He goes by Adonis Johnson. And so he has
He
like this whole
does.
conflicting thing. I think it's a really interesting link between also him, whenever like somebody meets Adonis, they call him Hollywood, because he was this kid who was adopted by this rich woman, Marianne, Apollo's wife. So he gets adopted by this rich woman. He grows up in the hills and everything. But before that, he was in the foster care system. He was
in juvie.
He was in juvenile hall,
and you can
floating around families.
This is also a testament to Ryan Coogler's writing, where the scene where he meets Marianne, you know everything you need to know about this kid from like 4 lines. I'm not going back to a group home. I'm not with a group home. Are you a social worker? No, I'm not a social worker. And then he'll starts to open up.
Literally.
Immediately you know everything you need to know about this kid. This kid has been through rough shit, and it has made him
builds
not
a wall.
Trust authority figures. It builds a wall until he realizes she's not with the system.
She's wants
there
to help.
For him.
Yeah. And that's
she's family.
That's a great way to put it too. She's there for him, She's not she herself is not going after this kid because it's, her last attachment to Apollo. She is like, no. This kid is left abandoned. I need to do the right thing. Like, she's not doing this out of, like, some misguided attempt to right a wrong. No, she's doing this because it's just the right thing to do, and she, wants Adonis to be himself, without Apollo, like, holding, being over her shoulder. And, again, I think that's another great metaphor to what Adonis has to do to, like, really become a great fighter. He doesn't become his best self until he learns to accept who he is, not hide that part of his lineage of his family, but still, he honors his father while being his own man. And I think that's, like, with Marianne there, being like, this is the right thing to do. I'm not doing this out of, like, guilt. I'm doing it to honor Apollo. That's how Adonis winds up not winning the fight, because he doesn't win in the end, but it's how he learns to become his best self, is honoring his legacy without being controlled by it.
I do like the ending of this movie. I like that he doesn't win.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. One, it shows that just because you don't win doesn't mean you're not strong.
Yes.
Apollo won a lot of fights. It got him killed.
He was, in universe, he was the greatest boxer of all time. But he dies in the ring.
He does. And a big part of, like, when he first meets Rocky, where Rocky says, I think he'd rather be here talking with you, where there's this idea that, like, with any craft, like art, sports, whatever, that the more you suffer, the better you become. He doesn't have to suffer and give his life.
No.
For this thing that he enjoys.
And he learns not to later on in the franchise. He goes out on top. He doesn't let himself get beaten down.
No. And there are more movies, the sequels do kind of explore that further.
Yeah. A lot of the themes in this movie don't get abandoned. They get expanded upon in the sequels, which is
I do
very
like
cool.
that, yes.
But yeah, talking about the ending, I think this is where we start to give Ryan Coogler his flowers, I say, as if we weren't just doing that for the whole part. Ryan Coogler, in every single one of his movies, I think it was accentuated in Sinners, his attention to detail is fucking magnificent. He does not get one thing wrong. I mean, even watching these boxing fights, there is nobody that looks like they don't belong in a ring. Mainly because most of the people in those rings are boxers.
Yes.
The guy who plays Pretty Ricky Conlon and his original matchup before he socks him in the jaw, they're both real-life boxers. The guy who plays Victor Drago in Creed 2 is a real life like they got boxers so that it wouldn't look wrong. And I'm kind of impressed by that because a lot of them, I would say it's kind of 50-50 the performances they give. Like there's some I really like. There's some that's like, okay, you're a boxer in a boxing movie. One of the other things I think Coogler like really pays attention to detail for in the ring is one, those punches sound real. Like the sound design on them is phenomenal. You feel the blows. So credit to the sound designer there. And then also the sounds Michael B. Jordan makes while he's throwing punches. Like if you watch, I think he even takes this into Black Panther. When he throws a punch, he gives a little like
Yes.
That's a real thing boxers do. Because when you throw a punch, you're supposed to exhale. And the best way to like quickly exhale is to just make a sound. So like later on, they do it again with Diamond Dame, where rather than just making like a hissing sound, I think he makes like growling, like huh, huh. That's a real boxing technique, and it's such a like little thing to pay attention to. But then you also have like these one line that will tell you so much about characters, like you talked about before. 4 lines, and you know everything about Adonis's upbringing before he meets Marianne. When he is asking Rocky the first time for just boxing instructions, Rocky is writing it all down, and he's writing down 5 minutes of shadow boxing, but Apollo kind of has to correct his spelling on shadow. And it kind of gives you everything you need to know. If you have never seen a Rocky movie, it gives you everything you need to know about the character, where he is like, okay, so he's a boxer, and he's, old. So those two things, but also he's taken his fair share of hits. He's probably not super well educated. It gives you a rundown of everything Rocky's character had gone through in like 2 lines.
They are dealing with grief together, like on this journey.
And
where it's like both of them like literally are training to get stronger by the end of it. Because
their stories mirror each other in like a quite hands-on way, where Rocky's fighting, cancer, and I like that they specify it's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. There's not really a scene that scene where he gets diagnosed, you're not really like crying yet. Like you're emotional, but you're almost like a little mad at him because he's refusing treatment.
Frustrated.
And it's not until, Creed literally pulls him out. And, again, it's hands-on, but it's hands-on because it works so well that they save each other in it.
Yes.
And when, those stories mirroring each other, I think it's great because this movie ostensibly is Rocky. It's kind of the same format and formula, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I actually think it does a fucking brilliant job at it. Another movie that came out this year that I will defend with my life, I fucking love this movie, but I understand why people don't, is The Force Awakens. It's a similar story. It's a legacy sequel that ostensibly tells the same story with an old, character coming back to be the mentor. But Creed handles it so much better. And again, I like The Force Awakens.
As somebody who's never watched the Rocky movies, it is a tribute to those movies without relying on those movies.
That's exactly what it is.
Prop up its plot. You can tell with this one, it wasn't made just for the purpose of a legacy sequel.
It was a labor of love.
He wanted to tell this story. There was something he wanted to tell with.
And all of this culminates in the final, boxing match. It is, the best directed boxing scene in any movie ever. And I will include Raging Bull, which is my favorite boxing movie of all time. And it might just be one of the best directed scenes of all time. This last boxing scene is so amazing because, Ash, you could speak better to this than I can. I'm have been a bit of a boxing fan in my life. You're someone that doesn't watch boxing, but you know exactly what's going on in this fight in every second of the way, right?
Yes, it is direct. It's such a well-directed scene where you constantly are aware of the stakes and who has the upper hand.
Yes.
And it's portrayed in a way where you are always engaged.
You always know who has the upper hand at any given moment. When it gets down to it in that final round, Adonis has to knock Conlon out, or else he's not going to win this thing. So when he doesn't knock him out, when he gets so close, but doesn't quite do it, you don't need someone to be like, oh no, he's not going to win like that. You just know. You know, like, oh fuck, he had to knock him out, and you were pulling so hard for him to win. That's what's incredible about this, is when you're watching this fight, you were rooting for him so hard, like you would a boxing match. Like, if I was to turn this on as a boxing match, I would 100% be rooting for him in the end. I was kind of yelling at my TV like I do when I watch the Yankees, you know?
I also think with this fight, when, you know, Adonis is down on the ground, they show, like, the brief clips of what matters most to him. They show Bianca had her first kiss, you know, the person he, like, trusts the most outside of Rocky and kind of comes close to. She helps him come out of his shell, shows him around Philly. Rocky, who's also showed him around Philly, showed him everything he knows right now about boxing. It shows a clip of Apollo.
Yeah.
Apollo in a fight. It's a nod to the movie, but it's not, like, nostalgia based.
It's a nod to the character more than anything. It's a nod to Apollo, which, yes, is a nod to Apollo Creed, the character played by Carl Weathers that we all love. But in the sense of the movie, it's also Apollo, or Adonis, like, using his father's memory to get back up like his father would. So at the end of Creed, you know, it goes on to be a massive success, kind of launches Michael B. Jordan, as I said, into, like, A- stardom. Ryan Coogler's now becoming a name. And Sylvester Stallone actually gets an Oscar nomination. After the success of Creed, 3 years later in 2018, we got Creed 2. Now, initially, Ryan Coogler did picture this as a trilogy, but he was busy doing stuff with Black Panther, so they was given to Stephen Capaldi Jr., and it wound up being co-written by Sylvester Stallone. So he came back to do the script after. Yeah, he co-wrote it, and I would say he gave some amazing restraint in it.
He did.
Like,
yes.
Rocky's not the star of the show. He actually takes even more of a step back in this one. It's good for Stallone, who's known at this point for movies like The Expendables, where despite the fact he's 70-something fucking years old, he's a cool guy, goes in with the big gun, and, like, he's all cool. And
he's not a cool guy in this.
And no, he's kind of like this sad, you know, he's...
sad grandpa.
You almost want to hug him. So, this is my biggest hot take for the video. It's something Ashton and I really disagree on, too. Creed 2 is my favorite of the trilogy.
Creed 2 and 3 are kind of, like, the same in my head. I think there are parts of 2 I think are handled better than 3. The emotional journey of Adonis, I do think, is better. I don't think
2 or 3?
2.
In
sorry.
2?
Yes.
I would agree with that, yeah. Like, I think this movie is just so well written. Like, I wouldn't say it's as well directed as either of the other ones.
No. It's also very hard to, like, how do you make a sequel after such a fucking banger, man?
Yeah.
I think what it does well is still very impressive. I think, also, I have a problem with the pacing.
It is a little awkwardly paced. You are right.
Yes. The pacing is a little awkward, because I feel like we touch on certain moments, and it's like, Rocky doesn't want to enter this fight. He wants to enter the fight. He enters the fight, he gets his ass beat, he still has his ass beat. He still has his ass beat. His wife gives birth. He has his ass beat, and now he has a kid. His wife is like, oh, he's not talking to me. He's still not talking to his wife. He's gonna talk to his wife now, and now he's on fucking Brokeback Mountain with Rocky fucking Balboa, and they're throwing tires at him while he's filming his pet sperm at home. It's just like, oh, daddy's over there and not here. Ooh.
Yeah,
and that goes in my other I feel like Bianca takes a huge step back from the last one, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I like that they acknowledge that, like, him sort of emotionally shutting down after the fight affects her too.
Yes.
And that's shitty. She just gave fucking birth, and then he's like, I have to go to the fucking desert. I just gotta go. Bye.
It's the one where Bianca, because credit to these movies, Tessa Thompson, who we missed on that first one, she's great in these. She, mainly in 1 and 3, she is not shoved to the background. She is in this as much. She also parallels Adonis's journey.
She's not as well done. I feel like you can really feel it in this one, especially because, like, once he gets his ass handed to him by Victor Drago in this, he's really needs, like, his support system to hold him up. But in the first one, she's the one that Rocky gets him to open up about boxing. She gets him to step
About
out
life.
of the ring about life,
Yeah.
about the here and the now. He wants to be there with her, for her, and he wants her with him. And I feel like in this one, you don't really feel that as much.
If anything,
Which is kind of like the whole point of his downfall and then rising back up, where he flies too close to the sun because he rushes into it without preparing with people in his corner.
it is a plot point that he ices her out, basically.
Yes.
And that's what causes him...
I like that they call him out on that.
Yes, it's not shown as like, oh, you're not supporting me, I have to go do this thing on my own.
You're the lone wolf.
It's like, hey, you're stopping me from killing myself. Yes, we're married, we're having a child, this is what partners do, you can't do this on your own. Fuck that, I don't need you.
I love you.
Bam! Gets knocked the fuck out. Like, the most brutal KO in this franchise.
He gets beat so fucking bad, he makes a perfect Blue reference.
He gets beat so bad, he continues to be the champion because they're like, that was too much beating.
They're like, you can't do that.
This is a boxing...
You can't beat him like that.
Victor, this is a boxing match and you did too much boxing.
From Street Fighter to Mortal Kombat. That's crazy.
He does. He fucking hits him with a fatality.
You could have done like the fucking X-rays where they're like breaking their fucking spines and shit.
But Adonis is laying in the hospital like barely conscious, morphined up, his kidneys in the other fucking room, and little dude comes in and is like, "You're the champion, though." Adonis learns in this that he needs he can't ice people away, because this entire movie, it brings back his relationship with his father. The main premise of the story is the son of Ivan Drago challenges the son of Apollo Creed. Ivan Drago killed Apollo Creed in the ring, kind of intentionally. Like, he was going out there to really cause some damage. And the fight should have been stopped by Rocky by, throwing in the towel is a literal term in boxing where you throw in the towel when you think your fighter's had enough. Adonis feels like this anger and this rage on behalf of his father towards somebody that had nothing to do with it, too. Because he's taking it out on Victor.
People that weren't involved in this incident at all.
It's something that these two people could not control.
I think what was so interesting about this movie was, I would argue, Victor Drago was definitely an antagonist in this, but, like, the main villain, I feel like, was the industry surrounding boxing as a whole. Because these people have so much grief and rage from Apollo's death, something that, like, again, Adonis never met his father. Victor was barely post-sperm when this all fucking happened. But he's been trained his whole life off of this moment. The industry pushes this fight. The industry pushed the first fight as kind of a, from my
America versus USSR.
America versus USSR political narrative that they wanted to push. Someone died because of it, and they still don't fucking care. And they want their kids to go through it again. Yeah. Because it will put butts in seats, because they don't see these people as people. They see them as extensions of a story.
As a commodity.
That they can sell as a commodity.
Yeah.
And that's so hard with, like, where the last one, Adonis, was kind of coming to terms with his identity. And now he's kind of seeing, like, the worst of the worst, where the industry is taking this identity, something so personal to him, and they're kind of just using it as something you can buy and sell to get tickets.
Yeah. It really is heartbreaking, and it's something that happens in combat sports in general. So yeah, you're right about this industry. Like, you meet the industry head putting this together, and he's able to get to Adonis when realistically, and look, this is easier said than done. Adonis should have just been like, fuck this, I don't care what this guy's saying.
He's not, like, hot-headed. He can have a level head when he really needs it, but when people egg him on,
yeah,
he goes in guns blazing. He's very prone, and I'm gonna use brain rot words for a minute, because it's how best I can describe it. He's prone to rage bait and clip farming.
Yeah.
When people rage bait him, he falls for it.
Something I find very interesting, that never gets solved.
No.
There's never a moment...
I kind of like that, too,
because he's
human. It's kind of like, yeah, deeply human thing.
You know, he's not a messiah.
Kind of like, again, with, like, and that's another thing I feel like that Michael B. Jordan brings in from, like, some of his anime inspirations. It reminds me a lot of, like, Luffy from One Piece, where, like, his similar thing, too, is, like, if you rage bait him, he will just fucking go in there. And sometimes Goku, I feel like, falls into that a little bit, where sometimes he's not really, like, oh, well, they're trying to manipulate me. He kind of, like, thinks with his fists a little bit.
Yeah. There's never a moment where Adonis is like, no, I can't fall for this anymore. Like, he does every single time, because he's a three-dimensional character. He has flaws. So how about we move on to my favorite character in this whole trilogy, and that is my man, Victor Drago. I think he is such a brilliantly done character. My heart bleeds for this character. Because you mentioned before, he's the antagonist here, but he's such a good study in how antagonist doesn't mean bad guy. He is, he's this big ball of anger who doesn't really know how to, like, hone it in. He only knows fighting. Like, Von Drago says, like, he only knows this,
Yes, this is my son. All he knows is this. My boy will break your boy.
Yeah.
He's basically used as a prop of, like, just this ball of vengeance and anger.
Yeah. The more the story goes on, the more it's shown, like, oh, this isn't because he's an angry, hateful man. It's because he's been, like...
This is all he knows.
Basically, it's been beaten into him because of his father's failure. He is a vessel for his father's anger.
And then you get this scene also where he's confronted by his mom.
Yeah.
And you immediately see all he has is his father.
And yeah, his mom left, and he becomes like a
deadbeat.
He becomes like a little boy in that scene. It's such a well done scene where he turns into a child.
Like, feel bad for him, yeah.
Because that's what happens to all of us. Like, yeah, we're all grown adults, and we have life experience. But man, there is shit that happens that just puts you into little kid mode.
It's like something where, like, his mom abandons him for something he didn't even fucking do.
Yeah,
you can't get over shit like that.
But the metaphor for Drago that I thought of was he's not an antagonist like Darth Vader. He's an antagonist like the Death Star. He is this unfeeling...
In the way he's utilized in the story, absolutely.
He is just an unstoppable, besides one little weakness, it being his mother. Like, even in the final fight, the reason Adonis is able to win is because Victor sees his mother and, like, freezes.
Michael B. Jordan, everything involving, like, the birth of Amara is so emotional.
Yeah.
He's so fucking good in those scenes. Like, you really feel like you're, like, right there with him. In a very, like, shocking... Like, when did this movie come out? Like,
2018. I just looked it up. 2018, yeah.
A pretty, like... A really good message about, like, navigating having a kid...
With a disability.
It's like... And Rocky brings up Rocky of all people brings up a great point where he's like, the kid doesn't feel bad for you.
Yeah.
For her. The kid just exists.
Yeah.
You know?
Love her how she is.
Love her.
Another thing I found interesting about Victor Drago, he's a great case of how you frame a story, because we watch this movie and Adonis is what's called our point of view character. Like, we kind of see everything through his eyes. You know, even when we're disagreeing with him, he's our, vehicle. And so in that framing, Victor's the bad guy. You know, he's the big, scary Russian guy. There is a way to tell this movie where you shift the point of view character, where this is a tragedy of Victor Drago, and you tell it from his perspective. Like, that's such an interesting thing, is this guy could be the protagonist of his own movie.
Yeah, and you would be rooting for him rather than Adonis. You wouldn't be necessarily rooting against Adonis.
Just like you kind of don't root against Victor. Like, you want Adonis to win.
You kind of feel bad for Victor.
Yeah, 100%. You walk away, like, feeling emotional. And that kind of takes me to the end here. One of the most powerful things that I didn't expect to, like, really get to me is how this fight ends. Yes. Adonis is able to get the upper hand on Victor, because Victor sees his mother walk out of the ring after he's knocked down, and it breaks him. He goes into little boy mode, and Adonis is kicking the shit out of him. And man, this is a familiar scene for poor Ivan Drago, who's like, oh my god, I'm on the other end of this now. He's beating my son. They're not calling it. And you see this turmoil of his face being like, oh, part of him wants to be like, oh, my son failed. But the other part of him is like, this is my son. I can't.
Like, what's most important in this moment?
Like, you see it going through his mind, almost a way of, like, he would never say this, but almost a way of, like, oh my god, what have I done? This is what this all led up to. And
it's sad, too, because, like, Victor, you can tell, like, he just has completely given up. Like, he literally doesn't care if he gets the shit kicked out of him.
He's gone. And so, Ivan Drago throws in the towel. And it immediately cuts to Rocky there, just being like, oh my god, he did it. He didn't make the same mistake I did. I just think that's such a good ending to that. And, like, Ivan showing his son mercy, and it spurs Rocky to go meet his grandson. So after a few years, after Creed 2, they decide to do
Creed 3.
A third Creed movie. And stepping into the director's chair is our main man, Michael B. Jordan. Broadly, how do you think Michael B. Jordan did as a director?
Incredible.
Really? You would go just straight up incredible?
In terms of style, I'm judging, in my head, just on style, 5s across.
Stylistically, I would agree.
Because
the coloration in the movie is phenomenal.
Because this is not just a boxing movie. This is a sports anime. This is this officially becomes American fucking Dragon Ball. Okay. Adonis, he's Goku. Bianca, she's Chi-Chi. Fucking Rocky's not in this. Amara is Gohan. She's the kid.
She's great in this movie.
Victor Drago and Adonis are friends in this movie. He's Piccolo. Damien in this movie is Vegeta. So it's Vegeta versus Goku. This is American Dragon Ball. He's lifting planes in this.
He does carry a plane. That's kind of crazy.
He has superpowers. They're fighting about their legacy and talking about the power of friendship and strength. And yeah, this is an anime, and I love it. I fucking love it. I ate that shit up.
Is that why this is my least favorite of the 3?
I just was so entertained. You could really tell this was made by, like, a huge nerd.
It is. If I was to watch this movie 100 times, I think 50 times I would say I didn't like it, and 50 times I said I did like it. Like, it's not without substance. There's things I really like about it. As you were talking about, stylistically, this movie's fucking incredible. It's maybe the best looking one out of the 3.
For a directorial debut.
Yeah, it's a directorial debut. However, you do also kind of feel like, I think Michael B. Jordan as an actor is significantly weaker in this one.
Because he has to wear two hats.
And it's a hard fucking thing to do. I do think it's the weaker story, but it's so visually interesting. But I also think Jonathan Majors as Diamond Damian Anderson is like an idea for a character that I kind of fuck with, but the execution, it wasn't even bad. It's not like there was nothing offensive about it. It just wasn't interesting.
Sometimes he is kind of doing like, I'm the Joker. Like when he's in the scene on the beach where he's like, aloha, and he's trying to be intimidating. In Creed 3, Jonathan Majors is giving one of his weaker performances.
He's giving just nothing. Like, it's not even like he's really bad. You're not like, oh my god, this is a bad performance. You're just, every time he's on screen, you're kind of just like, all right, here we are. Here's, you know what was going through my mind as I was watching this? I was like, I think I should feel bad for Damien a little bit, like kind of like how I did for Victor. But because he's got a tragic story, but then he's, acting, and I'm like, where's Lil Duke? Let's get him back in this. And another like hit for it on me is you don't have Rocky in it, and man, you fucking miss Rocky in this.
You do miss like Adonis and Rocky kind of going back and forth with each other, how they keep each other kind of grounded a little.
Like,
I like that Bianca kind of has more to do.
Yeah, no, she's.
But it's at the sacrifice of Rocky.
Bianca and Amara are like the two best performances in this movie for me. They're both great. And casting an actual deaf actress to play a deaf child, and that's another thing I love about this movie. Actually, I'll give it credit. Their use of like sign language and deafness and everything is brilliant in this movie because they don't hold the audience's hand through it. Like, how sometimes in movies they'll be doing sign language, but they're saying, what they're signing. So the audience knows, they're not tuned in. They don't do that shit in this movie. They are signing and they have, subtitles, but there's no like, oh, I'm a deaf person. No, it's real sign language that
they're not writing it like Sesame Street, where it's like, we're gonna sit down and learn like what sign language is.
This movie does not ice out the deaf community by like making a mockery of it. Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson really seem adept at sign language. Like it seems natural. It seems like these two characters who in real life are fully hearing. I don't know how much sign language they knew before this, but it does seem like they've been learning sign language for at least a few years for their daughter, which is something parents would do.
Yes.
And then obviously,
keeping them
the young girl that plays Amara
involved,
is
like
unbelievable. I love her in this.
And I feel like it ties into her character in this story where like they want her to feel supported as her own person, and even like when they face like in school, she's getting bullied, but then she stands up to defend herself by getting in fights. And there's sort of this like, well, you don't want to go in swinging, but what if she does have to defend herself? As somebody who's worked with kids, who's worked in educational settings, unfortunately that is a reality where some of these people in positions where they are making the rules, they aren't in favor of people who are the victim of bullying. Unfortunately.
I have a very firm belief. I think every, man, woman, child, and everything beyond and above should learn self-defense combat training. Like, I believe every single human being should know how to throw a punch. Hold your own in a fight, not because I think everyone should go around fighting, but because that shit's just going to happen to you, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can get really hurt. I think, like, a lot of combat sports, because they've become so, like, macho and alpha, it kind of ices out the people that need it the most. At this point in time, women, trans, and queer folks are the ones that I think need self-defense training the most, and they're the ones least likely to get it, because if they go into a boxing gym...
Organize with your local
community.
Queer self-defense organizations.
Look, I'm a straight white guy. I can go into any gym in the world, despite the fact I look like shit and look like I belong. Like, no one's gonna give me shit for being there. I could go into a boxing gym right now, and boy did I almost after watching these movies, and no one's gonna look at me twice. But
I
to
mean,
use
there's a
you as an
reason
example, someone
why
like you, Ash, you might have
but
a harder
there's
time.
a reason.
Like, so
It's,
I encourage.
and there's a reason why I'm this skinny. It's because like I don't really go to the gym because people who go to the gym are big buff cis dudes. So.
The gym is a place for self-improvement, so it's insane that people don't feel comfortable there. And I'm not blaming the people that don't feel comfortable. I 100% get it. I don't always feel comfortable. It's that there are people in this fucking world that will look at you trying to improve yourself and be like, how dare you? Like, that's...
No, not for you.
That's insane. Yeah, you do not fit my idea of someone that should be...
I'm the king of the gyms, and you're not allowed in here.
Yeah, and it's insane. If you are a vulnerable human being, I 100% suggest looking into gyms that might be safe for you, or just people you know that might be safe for you. Make contacts. Go online, learn about some self-defense training, things you can do on your own, however you feel most safe doing it. So yeah, Creed...
Creed's an anime.
Creed 3, I don't really have much more thoughts of that. Really, just you feel the absence of Rocky.
The most important part, that final fight between Damien and Adonis, it's such where, like, you have the cage wall, and it's like they're throwing each other around the ring, and it is such like this big like anime-esque fight,
and they take out like the sound,
the visual metaphors.
Yeah, Creed 3, I don't really have like much more to say.
The costume design.
Oh yeah. A lot of the costume stuff is very cool. If you want to touch on that.
In this one, there is a lot of like, because I know his one outfit directly inspired by Akira.
Yeah.
Which was the one where he's fighting Vlad Drogo in this one, where they're kind of like training together.
Yeah.
I feel the need to point out when Adonis is fighting, his shorts, they're bleached white. Yeah, the bleached white American flag as kind of not only a starting anew of like that legacy, claiming that legacy from his father, his own officially in this movie, but also when this came out, Michael B. Jordan said as a director, he didn't want the symbol of the American flag, which people associated at the time and still now with Donald Trump. He kind of wanted
it was an inverse, an intentional
and, like,
inverse,
being its own thing, an intentional inverse, which I thought was really cool. And then he has the robe that he comes out to fight Damien with in, where the front is the U.S. colors, and then at the back is the Pan-African flag colors. That, I know, I looked it up, and that was made, they were made out of the fire hoses from the L.A. riots.
Yeah, I read that too, which is super cool.
Just really cool, like, costume design, really creative. I feel like that's also, like, as a director, it shows... Again, another part of influence. This is a bit of a stretch, but like, you know, in something with a lot of anime where it's like they're always having different costume designs to show. You really have to like push the character designs. We're in these crazy outfits. You know, they famously, the protagonists have
the crazy hair and the
because it's each like visually showing their personality. Like when you first see Luffy, you immediately know what he's like because of like the way that he's dressed.
It's the same thing
like,
Coogler would do in the first Creed, where he's just showing you something very quick and very simple that tells you everything you need to know about the character. And
it's doing it very visually, and it shows like that inspiration from a lot of visual media like anime, you know. And I think it's the coolest thing about why I have, even though I agree, the plot...
It's the weakest script.
The villain's weaker. The weakest script in
and it's the weakest performed one, I would say. But, like, stylistically, the movie might actually be the best one.
It's so cool in this one. I mean, they're all, like, kind of have... You can kind of see different inspirations from different media, but this one... especially is the most anime. And I think it's the coolest fucking thing about this movie. Especially, like, again, anime as a medium that typically gets very, like, underappreciated as an art form. It not only is it showing these influences, it's not afraid to show these influences. Those influences actively make this movie better.
Yeah, they do. They're the best part of it. And I think that kind of takes me to
Yes.
my final thoughts on the series as a whole. And that's, we framed this around Michael B. Jordan, and there's good reason for that. And that's Michael B. Jordan. Through this, you see him progress. Like, he started doing these movies in 2015, and then 3 came out in 2021. So that's a long time. He clearly has such a deep caring for this character.
Yes.
And I think that shows, especially in 3.
The character grows with him.
Yeah.
He gets older and wiser with this
100%.
character. To the point where by 3, he's directing the movie. Nobody else could have.
No.
This is definitely his baby.
No, it's his.
Nobody else could have been in this.
And I'm so thankful for that, because he brings so much life to this character. Yeah. And I think that's why he winds up directing the 3rd one, and he puts, like, everything he can into it.
Again, like, stylistically.
Yeah.
Especially as a debut.
I would love to see...
Crazy work.
I would love to see another Michael B. Jordan directed movie. Throw something out there.
Yes.
Come on, man.
We need more movies like this that are very clearly made by nerds who love anime and aren't afraid to fucking show it. Because I think it only makes the story of this stuff better. And it goes back to what we were saying earlier.
It's just new influence, too.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to explore things that are outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
If you've never read manga,
do it.
You've never watched anime, give some of them a try.
Pick one up.
You will be surprised.
The next time I go to the comic book store,
Izumaki.
Here was my pledge. I work down the street from a comic book store. The next time I go in there, I'm gonna pick up a manga and I'll read it and I'll talk. We'll have a conversation about it, just to expand my interest in the name of this episode. So, do you have any other final thoughts on the Creed series?
I'd never watched Rocky movies. I was pleasantly surprised by this. These movies are really good. The first one, incredible movie. Incredible movie. Love it.
That's and I hope for anyone that's like been maybe on the fence about it, like, oh, I've never seen Rocky, can I watch? Yeah, you can watch these. They hold up on their.
You don't have to watch Rocky. These movies stand.
I would actually say, really, I put these on par with the first Rocky movie, and they're better than any other Rocky movie after that. So before we leave, Ashton, I have one more question for you. It's kind of a fun question.
Yeah.
We've been talking about boxing all day. In the Creed series, we see some amazing intros. But if you were a boxer, what song would you walk out to?
I think I'd walk out to the, falling pipe sound effect.
Why? Motherfucker, I just thought about inserting that sound when you were waiting. I was literally like, wouldn't it be funny if I just put the lead pipe sound effect right here?
But, imagine it's just silence. You just walk out and they're just like...
Oh, I was picturing, Ashton Byrne's big boxing debut, Vibe Too Many Boxing. And, your opponent walks out and they're all hype and they got their hype music and whatever, and the stadium goes dark. And everyone knows Ashton Byrne is going to be introduced next. Ash Burns, if you will. And it's really dark and you hear, and everyone's just like, ah, fuck, what? And then you just sprint to the boxing arena.
Fucking a fucking cryptid.
I'm here. Let's go. Let's fight. And your opponent's like, what? What the fuck? My answers seem less fun now because I had 2 answers. I think
What's your
the
answer?
chalk one, because it's so on the nose, but the song is so good it deserves mention, would be "Mama Said Knock You Out" by LL Cool J. It's on the nose, but it's one of the greatest rap songs of all time. The other one,
have to say it, yeah. It's so fitting.
And the other one, I want you to picture, kind of like we described, a dark room. And there's just one light comes on, and you see, it's me, so me in a black robe with red lining, and just the Saw theme song comes on, and it's Hello Zep from Saw. But that's it.
Awesome.
That's a Vibe Too Many podcast. We're
Nice.
back and better than ever, Ash.
It's been a vibe.
A1 acting skills. Perhaps too many. I've been KJ Collelo.
I've been Ashton Byrne.
Bella ciao, folks.